Hi, welcome to This Week in Ames. I'm Susan Guiazda. On today's show, we check in with the Resource Recovery Plant. My guest today is Lori Hanson with the Resource Recovery Plant. Lori, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Susan.
It's always good to have you by. I like that you stop by every now and then just to tell us what's happening at the Resource Recovery Plant and what are some things we can do as a community to become more environmentally friendly.
Well, as you know, we have a glass program, a glass recycling program, and we just received word that last year, in 2015, we recycled 186.52 tons, which is 186,520 jars and bottles.
That's amazing. Now, I'm very familiar with the glass recycling program, as are you, but we know we have a lot of residents in Ames that maybe aren't here very long or they just moved in, and not everybody knows. It's a little unusual. Tell me about how the glass recycling program got started and how people can participate.
We began the program in 2006 because we already knew that glass is an abrasive material and it will abrade the equipment at the resource recovery plant and damage the machines. But not only that, it damages the boiler pipes over at the power plant. And so we needed to find a way to keep the glass out of the garbage.
Well, you know what? We could probably even back up before that. Not everybody knows in Ames we don't have a traditional recycling program because we use the trash to generate electricity.
That's right. Most of the garbage in Story County comes to the resource recovery plant, and we process that and use most of our garbage as fuel at the power plant to help make electricity for the city of Ames.
Now, of course, glass doesn't burn.
Right.
It's an abrasive. It melts in the power plant, creates slag, causes all sorts of maintenance issues. So obviously diverting glass is a great idea.
Yes, and we learned that most of the glass that comes in the garbage is container glass, the stuff that you would typically find in your refrigerator or your kitchen cupboards. Therefore, it comes from the grocery store. And toward that end, to make it easier for folks to recycle, we put the bright yellow recycling bins at area grocery stores so that the folks can remember to take it back and put it in the bin there for recycling.
Now, I remember when this program first started, I thought, I don't have any glass. I mean, I would remember buying glass products, but then I opened my cabinets, jelly, pickles, salsa, pizza sauce. I mean, the list went on and on and on.
Yeah.
And I don't have babies around, but baby food jars were big at that time as well. Lots of things come in glass jars.
Yes, and we forget that until we start taking a look through the refrigerator and the cupboards.
So I have a bin in my garage now. I throw my glass in there, and then when I take my cans and bottles back to the grocery store, I take my glass back as well. Now, how does that process work if you haven't done it before?
If you haven't done it before, the bright yellow containers at the grocery stores have black lids with holes already cut in the top of the container so that you can then just place your glass in that hole. It will fit up to a gallon jar, and we did put a lock across the top of it because we didn't want folks opening the lids and then breaking, say, window panes so that they would fit into the bin itself. So it really just says on the box that you only should put container glass in there and bring any other size of glass down to the resource recovery plant at no charge.
Sure, it has a lot of things on there that you don't want.
Right.
Like cookware, mirrors, window panes, automobile glass. None of that should go in there. But you just mentioned you have an alternative.
Yes, you can bring those items straight to the resource recovery plant and we'll accept them no charge. And that applies to any kind of light bulb as well. We don't want you to throw the CFLs in there, the curly tubes, because that will release a little bit of mercury vapor and we don't want to do that.
So glass recycling obviously been popular,
Yes.
Growing in its popularity. The number of bins has increased.
Yes. And Iowa State alone has 43 containers in their various laboratories to collect broken labware.
Yeah, and those are not the big yellow bins, but they have smaller scale.
Right. And we've got about 20 of them out in the communities in Story County and the city of Ames.
Well, one thing I know, in addition to saying don't trash your glass. We also talk about the importance of not trashing household hazardous waste. Those things that could be dangerous if they leach into the environment. Maybe you have paint thinner, paint, some chemicals, cleaners. What are some things that you would want people not to throw in their garbage can?
Anything that says caution, warning, flammable, combustible, toxic, poison, those are the kinds of items that everyone's got around their home, and we won't want those into the garbage because then a couple of chemicals could mix up together in the back of a garbage truck and start a fire. And we certainly don't want that to happen. And so we do have the Household Hazardous Program. You just simply call the plant and make an appointment to bring it in on a Wednesday afternoon at no charge.
And that helps our environment, keeps things from going where they shouldn't be. Sometimes people think, oh, I'll just flush it down the toilet. Yeah, that's a little scary.
Yes, it
doesn't work,
is.
and it also doesn't work for medications either.
No, it doesn't. We don't want that kind of thing in our water system because the Water Pollution Control Facility does not treat for those particular chemicals that we would put in the drains, and certainly not for the medications that we would flush. There is a box at the police department for you to take your expired or unused medications, and that will get those out of the system. And then, of course, the Household Hazardous Waste Program at the Resource Recovery Plant.
So, household hazardous waste, those are on Wednesdays. Make your appointments.
Yes.
Unused medications, both for humans and for pets,
Yes.
can be dropped off. It's 24/7 access to the police department lobby where there's a large, it almost looks like a giant mailbox.
It does.
Where you can drop off your medications.
Right.
And neither one of these you want to see in the garbage or down the plumbing.
Right.
So, Lori, it sounds like there's a lot of things going on in your business. Is there ever a slow day?
Not very many. Sundays we are closed at the plant, although the garbage trucks are out there still running, and they'll be at our doorstep 6 o'clock Monday morning to unload and get ready to go out and get more. Our probably the least busy time is in February simply because it's a winter month and nobody's outside doing household kind of jobs and that kind of thing, and everybody's kind of taking a nap, I think, through February. But other than that, the rest of the year is pretty busy.
One of the things that I've been trying to do since the beginning of the year is trying to be a smarter consumer and throwing away less waste. So I am really looking carefully at the things I purchase, the packaging, and if I really need something before I buy it, I'm actually trying to throw less things away. Do you have any suggestions, any ways to help?
Well, as a proponent of a smaller footprint, I think we have too much stuff. And I'm very much a big fan of decluttering, and this is now a good time. After the Christmas time is over and after all the gifts are put away, now's the time to go through and take out any duplicates or any clothes that you haven't worn in the last year or that your kids have outgrown, and get that stuff to Goodwill or Salvation Army or the Overflow thrift store. And then you will have decluttered your house, you have less stuff, and you didn't throw anything away. You kept it out of the system because it is still very usable, and other people are out there that can use those items.
And I know you're a big fan of swap sites and going online, recycling things instead of leaving it at the curb, find somebody else that could use it.
Yes.
All these things sort of help us repurpose product.
Yes, very much so. Most of the things that we see coming into the resource recovery plant, besides the regular trash bags full of household waste like organic foods and paper towels and things, the stuff is still very usable. And it's really kind of sad that we need to grind it up and use it for fuel, but that's what we're there for. But if we can get out there to the households before the garbage truck comes and encourage folks to go through their stuff and see what is still very usable and donate those items, not only will we decrease our carbon footprint at the solid waste level, but we'll also be helping others in need.
Well, great. I always appreciate your tips. Lori, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Susan.
So as always, if you ever want information about the City of Ames, be sure to check our website. That's cityofames.org. We have a calendar on the front page as well as the latest news events. You can also check out City social media on Facebook and Twitter. Look for the City of Ames and get the latest and greatest about what's happening in your community. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for This Week in Ames.